Welcome back to Gangs All Here, our New York Jets podcast from the New York Post. I'm freaking pissed off today. I'm Jake Brown. Brian Costello, my co-host, will join me in just a few minutes. Hope you all had a happy Thanksgiving with your loved ones, with your families. I did in North Carolina. I was about to get on my flight from Charlotte to LaGuardia at around noon, and I got a text, hey, we got a free suite ticket. If you want it, it's yours. I said, you know what? Let me go on this journey. Let me land, drop my bag off at home, Uber to the game. Might miss the first few minutes, but I think I could pull this off. And I did. And boy, did I wish I couldn't. Because the Jets did it again. The butt fumble on Thanksgiving. The salsa 99-yard cruise touchdown on Christmas Eve. And now, the 99-yard Hail Mary on Black Friday. And that's what the Jets are giving their fans for the holidays this year. Coal. A black soul. Black heart. Nothing. Feeling of darkness. Aaron Rodgers went on a darkness retreat. And the 2023 Jets season is a darkness retreat in its own. Javon Holland ran 99 yards while Jets fans rode through the Holland Tunnel. Because after every home game, you leave MetLife Stadium thinking, what the hell did I just watch? And it's been essentially every game at MetLife Stadium this season that the Jets have played in. You want the list? Here you go. The first one, the Jets win 22-16 in week 1, but they lose Aaron Rodgers 4 plays into the season, which would derail the Jets season there because Zach Wilson couldn't do it, and on Friday, Tim Boyle couldn't do it. Led by Nathaniel Hackett's play calling. He might have to call the plays from the Holland Tunnel himself. 2 weeks later, Jets-Patriots, the 2-8 Patriots, mind you. They had no problem with the Jets winning 15-10. All right, the next week, prime time. Oh, it's Zach Wilson's coming out party. You still leave the stadium with the Jets loss. That's 2 losses and a loss of your franchise quarterback, essentially 3 losses. All right, a couple weeks later, you leave saying what the hell just happened because the Jets beat the Eagles. And how the hell did the Eagles lose to this garbage team? You're looking back thinking, how the hell did the Eagles lose to these guys? All right, 2 weeks later, Jets had their bye. They faced the Giants. You leave thinking again, what the hell just happened? Because the Jets played a terrible football game and the Giants handed them the game. So yeah, that's 3 home wins. 1 where you lost a franchise quarterback, 1 where the Giants gave you the game on a silver platter, and the Eagles game, which Jalen Hurts throws a pick. You're like, what the heck just happened? And then the season falls from there. From 4-3 to now 4-7 as they get spanked by the Dolphins and their playoff hopes come down to going 6-0. This team can't score 6 points, let alone go 6-0. They get spanked by the Chargers in primetime 27-6. They go to the Vegas and lose to the Raiders 16-12. They go to Buffalo and lose to the Bills 32-6. And they give them a Hail Mary to close the half with 1 second left to lose today. 34-13. They get a garbage time touchdown to make the score a little bit more respectable than what it should have been. And just like that, a season where you thought the Jets had a shot for the playoffs is out the window. This organization should be ashamed of themselves. Fans go to these games. They pay good money. Today, tickets to get in, is a sea of Miami fans. All Miami fans, $150, $200 just to sit in the nosebleeds. To see this crap? I gave you the rundown. You leave feeling demoralized. And I wanted to get the mic, get it out of my suitcase, and go off as a therapy session because I'm sick and tired of making this trip to MetLife Stadium, the worst stadium in sports, voted by fans, voted by players, this colossal piss hole, this dumpster fire stadium with terrible food. It's annoying to get to. It's a dump. Everyone gets hurt on the field. The turf sucks. It's in the swamps of East Rutherford, and the product is garbage. And on top of that, the Jets asked their fans in October to pay for next year's season tickets. I'm sorry, but you got to be a fool to commit a year ahead to this product. This franchise is in shambles. And once Rodgers went down, it's all gone downhill. And everybody should be looking for a pink slip. Now, it's probably not going to happen because Rodgers calls the shots. But in my mind, Robert Saleh has got to be fired when this season ends. The accountability is off the charts bad. There is no discipline with this team. Once again today with the penalties, it's out of control. Nathaniel Hackett won't be fired, but my God, every week he does nothing different. Tim Boyle was not good today, but I don't want to hear you say, and I've already seen the tweets, oh, Zach should have still been the quarterback. You had to hold Zach accountable and make a change. Joe Douglas's fault for having your backups be Tim Boyle and Trevor Simeon. You want to say to me, hey, Trevor Simeon should have started today. Fine. I'm not going to argue against that. Does it make a difference? No. I think Patrick Mahomes starts today and the Jets might still lose. That's how broken this offense is. The Jets offense is broken like a McDonald's McFlurry machine. It's broken like our hearts after leaving MetLife Stadium. It's broken like your girlfriend of 5 years dumping you and cheating on you with your best friend. It's broken. Like when your parents leave you on the side of the road after you spilled Carvel in your dad's new car. It is broken. And this team is broken to the point the defense did nothing today. The offense does nothing. The coaching's piss poor. With 1 second left, the Jets throw a Hail Mary, and they only got 300-pound guys, and Tim Boyle getting crossed over like Allen Iverson just crossed him over. A 99-yard touchdown from 10-6 to 17-6, and the ball game ended right there. They should have ended the game at the half. An absolute disgrace to let Holland take that back 99 yards. Either go for a free kick, run it, try laterals, reverses, but for the play to end up in that, Saleh should be ashamed. The Jets should be ashamed for not being able to tackle him. And that play was the summation of what this season is. Dead. Absolutely dead. And so are the Jets' playoff hopes. So is this season. And I don't want to hear the words Aaron Rodgers is coming back this year. Because if he does, it's for him to piss in people's face to show them, hey, look, I did it. I came back. He should be no part of this Jets season. See you next year. He needs to be here next year. But this year, Aaron Rodgers shouldn't touch the field behind this terrible offensive line, behind this terrible coaching staff, behind this terrible roster. They finally deactivate Lazard, but who do they got to replace him? Cobb, and then undrafted rookies. Brownlee, Gibson, Irv Charles. Give me a freaking break. This roster sucks. Joe Douglas did a piss poor job creating a lot of the depth on this roster. He did not address the backup quarterback situation. You saw that Tim Boyle wasn't good. I got my game with Tim Boyle. I didn't like it, but there's not much you can do. You're not going back to Zach, and the only other option is maybe you start Simeon next week. But no quarterback on this Jets roster that they have right now is leading them to the playoffs. This season is a wrap. And it is an embarrassment how bad this team is. Let's bring Kaz on. All right, let's bring in Brian Costello, my co-host there today. Kaz, I was lucky enough to, be in a suite today. Shout out to Amazon Prime. The game was on Prime, and the first Black Friday game. Bougie it up.
Look at you. How was the food?
The food was solid. I mean, I had a meatball hero, and then I had some sausage, a hot dog, some chips.
How was the football?
Let's get to that. Oh, God. Well, my journey, I was tweeting it out, was very interesting. So right before, as I scanned my ticket to come from Charlotte to LaGuardia, I get a text my friend, hey, we have one extra ticket in the suite. I'm like, my flight gets in 150. I gotta go home, drop the bag. If I pay for an overpriced Uber, which I regret doing now, I'll get to the stadium, likely miss the first couple minutes. I get home, Astoria, leave my Uber 2:15 for literally the first time in my life. And this stuff always happens to me, cause he needs to get gas. I'm like,
The Uber driver?
yes, that shouldn't be legal. I
Wow.
tweeted about it and I didn't even add Uber support, but
You
they
should
hit me
get like
up.
a discount for that,
That's
right?
what I'm working on right now. And I was like, and they tweeted me. I didn't add Uber support, and they said like DM us your information. We'll see what we could do or something. He has to get gas. He's like, I'm sorry. And he was cruising. I'll give him credit. Like after that, he was swerving and like he was
Okay.
like GTA. But get your gas before accepting my Uber ride to New
Yeah.
Jersey. You know how far you're going too. Like
Yeah.
it was on E. I'm like, oh my God, this is I should have known then the day was gonna be a disaster. He cruises. I get there about 8 minutes left first quarter. It was amazing I got there that quick from
Did
Astoria.
you go through the Holland Tunnel?
Yeah. I did choose the route of no fees. It saved like $6 and it was the same amount. And Javon Holland Tunnel, yes, I might have taken that. I might have taken the Lincoln, which is the last time the Jets won a Super Bowl. Abraham Lincoln was in office, actually. So I get to the game, whatever. Good time, good people in there.
Good.
Because, I mean, and I said this in the open, every time you leave that stadium, it's what the hell just happened? Either they lose in a close and you're like, what happened? Like the Chiefs game, they lose in a blowout, like today, like the Chargers, they have a colossally bad injury that ruins their season, like week one, 4 snaps into the year, and you're 4-7. The offensive line is terrible. The quarterback change didn't make a difference. Nathaniel Hackett might have to call plays from the Holland Tunnel at this point because that's how bad he's been with no adjustments. The coaching staff, there's no discipline. That play to end the first half, as I call the fail Mary. You had the butt fumble Thanksgiving. You had the Victor Cruz
Well, the
sauce on
fail Mary's
Christian.
already been used. You can't use that, Jake. The fail Mary was used for Green Bay. I called it the flail Mary because they were flailing all over the place.
I like that. Let's go with the
Yeah, the
flail
fail
Mary.
Mary was used in Green Bay Seattle game. Remember that time the Green Bay Seattle game with the replacement officials 10 years ago.
Oh yeah, but that I feel like because it's
But that's the
replacement
fail
shouldn't count.
Mary. That was
Yeah.
called the fail Mary. Yeah, no,
Did they
I call
trademark
this one.
that though?
I went with the flail Mary for this one.
I
So
like that. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, bodies were flailing. A lot of
yes,
large men that are bigger than us
yeah,
flailing. How does that happen?
yeah. It's a good question, Jake. I don't know how it happens. It's the Jets. That's how it happens. I told my 10-year-old daughter when I got home about the play, and she just said, "Man, the Jets have no luck," and that's pretty much it. They have no luck. I feel bad for you, Jake. I feel bad for Jets fans. I know I have fun with a lot of you guys on Twitter and my quips and stuff, but I do feel bad for you guys. This is, it's unwatchable football. It's what it is. It's like unbearable. I tweeted during the game, go to the mall, put up your tree, go for a walk, do something. Like just watching this has to be torture when you're invested in it because I'm not invested. I'm there to collect a check, but
$80 Uber, $80 Uber. Give me
yeah.
my money back.
Yeah, and I mean, people spending money on tickets, like all the money you got a freebie, but a lot of these people are paying a
God, it
ton
was
of money for
$200,
PSLs.
200 the day of to sit in the nosebleeds today. That's how expensive
Right.
it was.
Wow, really? Was that
Yes,
because all the Dolphins fans?
Miami fans. I've never seen it that high for this bad of a football team.
Yeah, because there was a lot of Aqua in the crowd. There were a lot of Dolphins fans there. I'm curious now because I don't think there's a lot of Atlanta Falcons fans or Houston Texans fans in the area. So are the next 2 weeks is the building a morgue? Is it just empty?
Oh, Happy Meal price. It should be $20 for lower level.
Yeah, yeah. But it's just you know, this year had so much hope. There was such high expectations. And to be sitting here, I was thinking it during the warm-ups, Jake, which you were probably somewhere on the
I was in the Holland Tunnel probably.
you were in the Holland Tunnel or somewhere not close to the stadium when they did the introductions. They introduced the offense, Jake, pregame. Okay, so the offense, it's all right, here comes the Jets offense. Xavier Newman, Carter Warren, Max Mitchell, Xavier Gibson, just like, and obviously Tim Boyle. It's like, what's amazing, Jake, for my job, right, is like we analyze this roster from the minute the season ends and through like, September 2nd or whenever there's roster cuts of like, okay, this guy, they got this, they're doing this. And then you get to this point of the season and it's a bunch of guys who you're like, if I told you in July that this would have been the lineup, you'd have been like, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not excusing the coaching, not any of that, but like the Jets are just outmanned right now, Jake, with this offense. They can't compete against good teams. Like you just, it's simple. It's simple. Like you're searching for answers. It's simple. Your quarterback is Tim Boyle. The guy you paid $11 million, Alan Lazard, is freaking inactive because he's so bad. So you have undrafted rookies and Xavier Gibson and Jason Brownlee, who look, they had promising training camps and maybe they're going to be good NFL players someday. They're not right now. They're just not. And they shouldn't be expected to be number two and number three wide receivers at this moment. That's not what you should be right now. And then on the offensive line, they've had so many injuries that they have 4 backups playing right now. I think Joe Tippmann is a starting player in this league. The other 3 players are not there yet. And again, maybe Carter Warren will be one day, but he's not ready yet. And Tim Boyle is not a starting quarterback in the NFL. So that's what you get. Right. And the Dolphins are a good defense. They've got a good defense. They've got a great defensive coordinator. And when Bills are a good defense, when you run up against these teams, they're going to look terrible. And maybe there's some teams left on the schedule. The Commanders just fired their defensive coordinator. I'm not sure about the Falcons, Jake. I haven't watched them yet, but that's the only hope really right now is that they get some bad defenses.
I know Saleh will keep saying he'll say Hackett's the guy, and if Rodgers not the quarterback, why not just have Todd down and call the plays at this point? You have done nothing on offense. He gave a kind of cryptic. He's been giving some cryptic, weird answers. I feel like the last week or two. I don't know. I mean, you're sitting in the room. I don't know when you hear them if you're like, that was like the answer he had about Zach, and we'll address that in the future, or whatever he said about you. You remember the other day when
about Zach's future?
Yeah.
Well, Zach's getting cut. Zach's getting cut after the season, Jake. Yeah. But they can't say that right now.
No, it was the question, the draft. He was like, "We'll address that at a future."
No. He didn't. That was misinterpreted. That was about the pre-draft evaluation, pre-draft process, and I think there's things they would change about the pre-draft process every year. They go through it. I didn't think that was. I thought that was misinterpreted. I didn't read too much into that. I think he just the Zach Wilson thing, they were all on the same page when they drafted Zach Wilson. Were there people who thought they should keep Sam Darnold in January, February? Absolutely. But by the time they got to April, they were all on the same page with Zach Wilson. There was no one saying this is a mistake. So I wouldn't, read that as that. I think he's just saying, I think if you really did a deep dive into what happened when they drafted Zach Wilson, I think some of them would acknowledge now that the COVID stuff had a bigger effect on the evaluation process than maybe they gave credit to at the time. And going back to his season at BYU and then the stuff in the offseason. But I think that got overanalyzed, Jake.
But what about the one where he said that'd be a really long answer, an answer for another day about changing play callers?
I think he's going to say,
and he's got a muzzle on.
Yeah, I think he's going to say the players suck. I think that's what he wants to say. I think he wants to say, you guys want me to change play callers. Well, guess what? No play caller is going to do well if he's got this offensive line, these wide receivers, and this quarterback. Bill Walsh could come back from heaven and not be able to do anything. I think that's the long answer he wants to give, but he can't give it because he can't rip his players. And so, but I think that's what he wants to say.
Again today too with the discipline, like the late hits, I think it was like a third down. They had a late hit, gave him a first down. They just every week the
only one I thought was a bad discipline play was the first play of the game, Jake, when Quentin Jefferson headbutted the dude.
Yes.
Other ones, I mean, CJ got called for a face mask that barely was a face mask. His hand just barely touched the face mask, and then the Michael Clemens thing was weird. He was pointing at a guy and he ended up hitting the referee in the face. But he wasn't, I didn't think that was bad. I don't think that was a big problem today, Jake. They were just outplayed. outcoached.
I mean, it felt
this
like every offensive play was a dump off. Like it was just so much dumpage. It was like a
even on
trip to
4th and 14,
like,
7-yard
like
gain.
he
Yeah.
gets it out quick, which is great. But is that in the coaching? Is that Boyle just not being good? Like, what is going on with
So,
these play calls?
so like what they want, one of the things that drove him crazy about Zach was like on 3rd down, let's say it's like 3rd and 12, he would like throw it down the field, like for a pass that has a 1% chance of working to Garrett. If you remember the Bills' first series, he threw a pass on the sideline to Garrett Wilson on 3rd down that had no chance. What they want is 5 yards on 3rd down so that they can punt it and they can play field position. They do. It's a
It's
defensive mentality.
embarrassing. It's an embarrassment.
It is. I mean, it looks, if you watch a functional offense, Jake, it looks it looks better. They don't have anything on 1st and 2nd down that's any good. Like you watch the Dolphins today, right? They weren't spectacular on offense. I didn't think it was like, oh my God, I'm watching the best offense in the NFL today. But if you noticed, they were always in 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, right? You get in those downs, everything's open to you. So they would fake the run. Tua would do a short little rollout and hit Tyreek Hill for 3 yards. And it was like boom, boom, boom. Like they converted, I think, 11 third downs. I have to look, Jake, but I have to think most of those were 5 yards or less. So when you're in 3rd and 5 or less, you just the playbook is wide open to you. Whereas the Jets are never, like, it feels like the Jets can't do anything. And even when they are in 3rd and short, they can't function. They had that one, what was it, one throw to Brees that came up short of the sticks. Like, yeah, this is the worst offense I've ever covered. And that's a mouthful because I lived through the Gase years, right? I lived through some bad offenses in the Rex's latter years. When Chaz Schillens was their receiver, and then there's the times with they went with McCown when that offense was functional. Or Sam's first year with Todd. There's been some terrible, terrible offenses. This is the worst offense I've ever covered, though.
Well, the thing of McCown, that's a backup. Like, that's a veteran. That's the guy kind of elk you want to get when you're looking for a backup. The Jets got Tim Boyle and brought Zach Wilson back. And now, people are like, oh, time to put Zach back out. I don't think Zach's not coming back out.
Zach's never coming back
out. You can
out.
argue Trevor Simeon.
Trevor Simeon's the next step. Yeah, Trevor Simeon's the next step. And clearly they think Tim Boyle is better than Trevor Simeon, they would have gone to Trevor Simeon off of Zach. So,
but now do you think with the extra few days here, they consider Simeon? I mean, Atlanta's pretty bad, but they're still better than the Jets right now.
I don't know. I mean, they're not high on Simeon, but yeah, like, do they just keep? But then, do they try it? I'm not sure. I mean,
it's worth a try, Kaz, because you have to win out to make the playoffs. Now, so when you talk about last hope, I'm not saying they're making it; they're obviously done. But if they want some pipe dream miracle, is it worth making a change just to say, all right, here's our last chance?
The Simeon argument is just he's more experienced, Jake, right? Like, he's been an NFL quarterback. Tim Boyle had 3 starts before today. Trevor Simeon was the quarterback in Denver after Peyton. He started in New Orleans, I think, when Drew Brees was hurt. Or maybe it was after Drew Brees. I can't remember. He started in Chicago last year. He hasn't been good, but he has been a starter in the NFL. So, maybe he could get this moving. But unless you get a better offensive line, Jake, and better wide receivers, I'm not sure. Trevor Simeon versus Zach Wilson versus Tim Boyle makes much of a difference. It feels like you're moving the chairs around on the Titanic right now.
It's who's on first. That's what it is. It's the same thing. And, it's really showing you, Kaz, that Aaron Rodgers called the play as an audible 95% of the time when Nathaniel Hackett was offensive coordinator, because maybe that's why he's in love with him, is because he let him run the offense. Because I know you're talking about, I want to throw the Jaguars year out the window. I know that was a long time ago. I don't even want to talk about that. With the Packers, you got to think that Rodgers essentially called the plays and audibled all the plays, because I know they have more talent, but still.
Matt LaFleur was the play caller in Green Bay. Nathaniel Hackett didn't call the plays.
Okay.
Nathaniel Hackett was offensive coordinator like Dow Loggins was the offensive coordinator under Gase. Like he was just there. Now he had some red zone. They always talk about how he was, the red zone guy, and now they're the worst red zone team in the
He's
history.
allergic to the word red zone. What do you mean he was a red zone guy?
Yeah, he was. That's what he did in Green Bay. But like that was Matt LaFleur's offense. So that was Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers. That's why the Nathaniel Hackett thing. I don't know. It's just it's hard to see. I don't know how this is going to end, Jake. They got 6 games left, but right now it's hard to see how someone doesn't have to go for this. Like this is a disaster, and I've been saying a lot. I think Rodgers gives all these guys a free pass, but you have to look like a functional NFL team at some point. There's teams all across the league who've lost their quarterback or lost offensive linemen, and there's one that plays in the same stadium. Okay. Giants figured out a way after a few weeks. They've looked functional, against the Commanders, rather. They were a functional team. So at some point, the Jets have to get up off the mat and get their legs under them and start playing like an NFL team again. Or, I think Woody Johnson has to start thinking about changes. And, so that's tough.
And I think that first change might start with, our bald friend. I mean, Joe Douglas, this roster sucks right now. And I know there's been injuries and stuff, but they've missed like the Hardman thing. It was ugly. Corey Davis, you didn't expect. You didn't get the backup quarterbacks. You did a lot of things wrong with constructing this roster. And this is how many years in, Kaz? What is this, year 4 right now or 5?
This is 4.
4, going into 5.
Well, yeah, we're 4 years. He was hired in 2019, so it might be 5 seasons, Jake. This is the 5th season. I mean, that first season really wasn't his. That was McCagne's team, basically, and they won 7-9. But look, I believe in Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh. I think they're good football guys. I've been impressed with what they've done defensively. So, like, you have to take both sides of the ball, right? Joe Douglas built this defense. Robert Saleh coached this defense. They've just failed on the offensive side of the ball, but they built everything around one player going into the season, and that one player got hurt 4 plays into the season. So I do think you have to take that in consideration. They had really bad luck. Again, they just have to figure out a way now to make this functional. I don't think they have to be the 99 Rams, but you've got to score. You should be able to score 2 touchdowns in a game in the NFL. If you can get 17 to 20 points, you're in most of these games.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think Saleh and Douglas need to be fired. I don't think I think Hackett needs to be, but he won't be. I'm just realistic about that. But I think the coaching has just been so terrible. They need a tougher coach. They need a better GM.
Right,
they've
let's go
failed.
with the
They've flopped.
Who's a tougher, who's the tough coach, Jake? Because
Belichick is a tough coach. But
okay.
He's not coming to the Jets, although I do think he's going to leave New England. But that would be a hell of a story, though, if he did.
But
right?
even Belichick, he's not yelling and screaming. And I think you guys want these guys to be yelling and screaming on the sideline and stuff. It doesn't happen anymore. I think everyone has Bill Parcells in the back of their mind, right? Because when I grew up, Bill Parcells was the Giants coach, and and then he became the Jets coach maybe when you were young, Jake, and watching football. And so I think he's the model. Bill Parcells doesn't exist in 2023 in the NFL. Like these guys, it doesn't happen. So look, I think I'll give Saleh credit on this one, Jake. He benched Lazard. Like that took some cojones to do. They're paying him $11 million, right?
It's nice, but the backups are all bumps. Like they don't have good backups. Like I get doing it; it's accountability, but
not many teams have good backups, Jake. That's why they're backups, right? Like backups should play 1 game or 2 games. You'll be okay with them. When they start playing 4 or 5 games, they get exposed. That's why they're backups, And so sometimes they're young and they can get better, but they're backups for a reason. I mean, the season went up in smoke 4 plays into it, and that's it. Like this was yes.
But God, you're seeing teams with backups still succeed. Obviously, I always say Dobbs, but you're a third of the league lost their quarterback, and some of those teams are still at least competing and moving the ball and scoring. That's what's pissing me off. Is this? Team, it's not a functional product to watch, and the fact people are paying and putting their hard-earned money to watch a product that can't do a simple thing like score touchdowns is inexcusable to me.
Yeah, they've got to score touchdowns, and they got to look functional. I've said that. I agree with you there. I'm not sure it should cost people jobs of Saleh, Douglas. I'm not sure that I'd go there yet. I do think they deserve a year with Aaron Rodgers, Jake. I think that was the whole plan. I think we praised Joe Douglas when he made the trade for Aaron Rodgers. You know, I think they deserve that year with him. So I do think they're going to get a pass on this year. But I'm with you. They got to start looking functional. They might have to throw Nathaniel Hackett overboard. They might have to tell Rodgers, tough man, pick your second best friend to be the offense scorer next year, because maybe Lazard could be the offense scorer next year. I don't know, but I just think it's tough to fire Saleh and Douglas off of this year because it all went up in smoke for plays. And I get the argument that they should have a better backup. A better backup, Jake, might get you to 7 wins or 8 wins. It's not going to do, you're not going to win the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like, the Vikings is a nice story. They're not winning the Super Bowl with Josh Dobbs. The Colts aren't winning the Super Bowl with Gardner Minshew. Like, this isn't a Nick Foles situation where they came in late December and you can get hot, right? This is, if you need I wrote this earlier in the week. There's like 2 instances where you could look up where a team has like a franchise, like a Hall of Fame level quarterback, let's say, and they lose them for at least 10 games a year and have succeeded. The 1968 Colts, Johnny Unitas went down early in the season. Earl Morrall came in. They went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Jets. And the 92 49ers, when Joe Montana went down, they had Steve Young. That's basically it. Now, there are instances where they did okay, right? Like Matt Castle did okay with a Patriots team that was 16-0 the year before. So that's like a great roster. When Dan Marino went down with the Dolphins with his Achilles, they ended up going 9-7 and missing the playoffs. Like, Peyton Manning went down in 2011. The Colts went 2-14. Like, it's hard to survive this if you lose the quarterback for the entire season. But should they be a little bit better and more functional? Absolutely. I just think this season was over though, 4 plays into it.
I mean, this game, if you don't give up the stupid Holland tunnel touchdown, we're talking
Yeah, we haven't
about
talked about that, Jake. You want to give me your thoughts on the?
we're talking about a 13-6 game going into the fourth quarter. Like 13-6, there were fans filing out at the beginning of the fourth quarter. This is a brand new game. If that doesn't happen, how do you come out of that at halftime? Like, what does Saleh say as they get to halftime? What speech does he make at halftime to say, "Oh, let's go, guys, we got this. We'll come back from this. We just gave up one of the most ridiculous, laughable touchdowns in the history of the sport, but we got this. We'll come back against an offense that knows how to motion, that knows how to call plays, that is explosive, and we'll come back and win this game." No. Like, what were you thinking when you saw it? Because you were there for Cruz and you were there for the butt fumble. So you've seen 3 historically franchise ineptitude kind of plays all in person. So this was the icing on the cake for you. And all the holidays, by the way. If you want to consider Black Friday a holiday, Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Christmas Eve. What's next? Hanukkah?
Yeah. Well, and you go back to the fake spike was on Thanksgiving weekend, Jay. 1994.
The Jets hate fun. They hate holiday cheer. They give us coal every year. Black hearts. That's what
I realized I was like, it's something I've never seen before. But as I said to someone, for me to be shocked now with something I see the Jets, like someone's gonna have to lose a limb or something, because you see, yep, that's about right. I do think, Jake, the post-game Monday morning quarterback stuff of like they shouldn't have thrown a Hail Mary is ridiculous. Like, if they took a knee in that spot, that stadium would have exploded on him.
What about a free kick? It would be 67 yards. Zerline's made it from like 60. Like,
you could. That's a ridiculous play too. Like, it's a Hail Mary. It's Hail Mary is not a high percentage play, but 99% of the time when it doesn't work, the ball just hits the ground or the guy intercepts it and gets tackled. Like, that's it. You couldn't have thought, oh boy, if we put this up in the air, he might go 99 yards for a touchdown. Like, that's insanity. ESPN stats, this has never happened before. So, like,
the Jets, it's always a time for first.
I just don't think you can second guess them on that. It was a freaky play that, I mean, just unbelievable. And it's such a momentum crusher, because at 10-6 going to halftime, you at least have some spirit of like, all right, we're in this thing. Can we get a fluky touchdown somehow in the second half and take the lead? But
Like, at least if you kick it, here's my philosophy. If you kick it and miss it and they try to run it back, you at least have all of your players there to try to tackle the guy. The
No,
Jets
I
had half their
disagree.
team. They had 4
I
guys in the end
disagree though,
zone and then
Jake. But
linemen.
you have a lot of big guys on the field in that case. Like that. Remember the kick six with Alabama Auburn? Like you got a lot of big guys on the field. You're not on a field goal. You're not going to have a lot of fast players out there. So,
But your
yeah,
fast guys were all down the field. So once
they
they were
were.
behind
Well,
the players,
They kept Brees back, and Brees got blocked. You know, he was the one. And Garrett ran like 130 yards according to Next Gen. So, you want to make? Do you want to hear my funny story from the day, Jake?
well, first off, what was the reaction of the press box to that? Was a lot of oohs and ahs to the 99?
Yes, and chuckles.
Yeah, chuckles. What's your funny story of the day?
So I tweeted, Jake. I tweeted something. I'm a little fatigued on the self-inflicted wounds storyline that we've gotten for a while now. I've heard that for 10 years at this point.
Mhm.
So I tweeted something after one of the penalties. I said, "Oh man, if I hear the phrase self-inflicted wounds today, I'm going to commit a self-inflicted wound." Right? Good line on Twitter. I get an email 5 minutes later from Twitter. Somebody reported me as being suicidal.
Oh, that happens a lot these days. You gotta be careful with your wording. You gotta like put like an asterisk if you say like self-inflicted. You gotta asterisk the e. That's the way around it. But that happens a lot to people. I've seen it.
Yeah, so I was like, "Oh my gosh!" So did I get reported? Did someone report it, Jake? Or they just
I think
monitored?
Twitter just does to monitor because people,
Oh.
committing suicide stuff. They want to just
Yes.
make sure. I mean, you're watching the Jets. It
So
happens. Like you gotta be
this
careful.
absolves them of any wrongdoing if they say send me an email. I guess that's what it was. So
Well, I hope you don't.
I did
Some
not
get
want to make
suspended. I
suicide.
hope you didn't get suspended at all. That's they
I
don't
don't
want
think
your
I was
Twitter
suspended.
suspended.
I have not been notified I was suspended. So
Well, if you do, this Jet season's over, so it's not like you're missing much. It's another year where December doesn't matter, January doesn't matter, and another year with last year at least in the beginning of December they were in it. They were in it till mid-December, arguably.
let's address one thing too, Jake. I know Jay Glazer, who's a fantastic reporter, reported Thursday, kind of said Aaron might come back. I'm not sure what Jay's exact words were. So
Even if they're not in the race or something.
Yeah. There's no possible way he's going to play
Mhm.
football this season.
Unless they win the next 2 or 3 games,
yeah,
which is not.
They gotta win. I'd say 2. I say if they win the next 2 games, then we start talking about the Dolphins game. Maybe he plays. I think he will return to practice, and I think that's going to be the victory for him. Is that he came back and returned to practice, 3 months after he tore his Achilles. But if the Jets organization lets him on the field this season, if they have, let's say, 8 losses, and they let him on the field, then heads should roll because that's ridiculous. So I don't think there's any way you're going to see him this season on the field.
I'm just scared that the Jets will do the most Jets thing ever. They'll go and beat the Falcons like 9-6 next week, or like 8-7. They'll get like a safety to win the game.
Yeah.
And then they'll beat the Texans somehow, some way, 13-10. Rodgers comes back and gets the Dolphins, gets hurt again. Next season's over. That would be the most Jetsian thing, that they have 2 injuries in one season to the franchise quarterback. It's a physical impossibility of happening, and it happens. That's my fear, as they tease us the next 2 weeks. I don't think they're going to win because they can't score, but they can win next week because it's the Falcons and they've been pretty crappy.
CJ Stroud's been pretty good. So the Texans game is going to be tough. I don't think we're going to get that flex now, Jake, after today's performance. I don't think the NFL can put the Jets on prime time. I'm going
to be flexing at the gym, working out, avoiding this franchise, but I don't know how I'm going to do this for 7. There's 7 games left. Can they
No. Only 6 games left.
Is it 6?
Add 1. 4 and 7.
Right. Okay. It's been a long day. I've been in like 4 states today. I've been in North Carolina, New Jersey, and New York today. So it's been quite the adventure for me. So I'm ready to go to bed and I can at least get the weekend without the Jets now. They ruined my Friday night, but it's Sunday. I don't have to worry about the Jets, and I can enjoy a Sunday fun day.
What did you think of Black Friday football?
I mean, the game sucks. I like the concept, and I like the good people at Amazon Prime I was with. There was a couple of media people, a couple of people that were in there that I was chatting with. So it was a good time. So I like the idea, but maybe not put the Jets on it. Maybe next year, and hopefully Rodgers is healthy. I think it's smart. I think it's genius for them. It's $100 million for that game. Amazon paid, and $1 billion for the year. Amazon for the rights to these games, which is just insane. Insane to me. $1 billion for a game a
I saw
week.
someone saying the idea is that it keeps people home and buying more stuff on Amazon than going to the stores.
Yeah, it's genius. I mean, people. I don't know if it's true, but it's
Yeah.
smart, I guess. So it's the one
I would
game
have
of the
gone to
day,
them.
and
I would have gone to the mall at halftime today if I was home.
but listen, if this was the game it was supposed to be, I think it would have been incredible. I mean, as I said, tickets already were $200 to get in. Obviously, a lot of Miami
Yeah,
fans,
well, the
but
Jets,
it was a hot ticket.
I know the Jets have talked to the NFL about being the Black Friday game every year. I don't think they're going to get that after this, but they sort of like Detroit's on Thanksgiving every year in Dallas. The Jets talk to them about being the kind of the anchoring Black Friday every year.
It's the coal. It's the coal for Christmas. It's the curse of the Jets, and I'm gonna blame part of this on our guy Adam Shine. Because listen to this, Adam Shine. I was listening to Mad Dog Sports Radio with my dad. He has Sirius in the car. I don't ever get to listen to Sirius because I don't have a car and I don't have Sirius. So we're listening to the car to Shine. Today, he went to his first Jets game since the Victor Cruz game. He's been to the Victor Cruz game, and today he was at the 99-yard Cruz touchdown and the 99-yard Holland Tunnel touchdown.
I think
Adam
we need
Shine.
to try to get him on the pod, Jake, to
Yeah,
explain himself.
I'm going to text him because I'm going to tell him I heard this and I need you to defend yourself. So maybe
Yeah.
on Thursday's preview of the Falcons game, we'll get Adam Shine on because that's insane that he's been in attendance for 2 NFL games and they both were 99-yard touchdowns, one offensive, one defense. Next, he's going to go. It's going to be a punt return for a touchdown to end the game. You would have thought he'd be the week 1 game too. My God, the curse of the Shine. All right, well, we'll be back Thursday to preview Jets Falcons, the last hope for any playoff semblance. Maybe it's the Trevor Simeon show. We should know by then who the quarterback will be. And we'll close this episode of Gangs All Year next. Oh, the pain. How the hell are we going to do this? 6 more games, 4-7. The Jets will have to go 6-0 in order to make the playoffs, 5-1 if they get lucky with other teams losing. This season looks toast. And this offense is unwatchable. I mean, first downs are hard to come by. Touchdowns are an impossibility outside of garbage time. And this team is purely inept. And it's going to be a painful final 6 games. But we hope you keep joining us. As that says, adios to episode 166 of Gangs All Here, a Jets podcast from the New York Post. Thanks to Andrew Hartz for helping me in producing the show. Catch up on all old episodes by subscribing to Gangs All Here wherever you get podcasts. Watch us right now on that New York Post Sports YouTube page. Give us a thumbs up below. Comment below. How you feeling? I mean, how demoralizing was that Holland touchdown? Did he shut the game off then? How are you feeling right now about the Jets? Sound off in the comments. Tweet me at Jake Brown Radio. And listen, Zach wasn't going to make a difference today. They had to make the change for accountability's sake. Boyle came in, and Boyle's done what he's done during his career. He wasn't very good. The entire offense wasn't very good. He had no one to throw to, and whoever they put out there, it doesn't seem to work. So you might as well just try Simeon next week. What's it going to hurt now? You're down your last hope. You got to win out for some kind of miracle. Well, we hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. I got to hold my nephew Oliver for the first time. I met him about a month ago, but they were still being mindful of he's new. The immune system's not built up, but I got to hold him. Apparently, he rolled over for the first time. It was great to spend some time with the family, be down there for a week. I saw the Knicks beat the Hornets in Charlotte. It was fun. So cherish the time with your loved ones because you never know when you lose a family member, you lose a pet, you lose a friend. Cherish the time with your loved ones, and I think that gets overlooked a lot. So I hope you enjoyed the meal. I ate about 40 pieces of shrimp, had a lot of turkey. I am full. I ate a lot. Did hit the gym a few times, though. So if you want to take a break from the Jets, go work out, go eat a good meal. Again, spend time with your loved ones. Hope you all had a happy, healthy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We appreciate you supporting Gangs All Here. Join us for the final month. I'll try to line up some good guests for us here. Maybe not even Jets related at this point, just celebrities. I don't know, because I don't know what former players and players want to talk about this team. Things got to change. People got to be held accountable, and we'll see what happens. We'll see how this is the final 6 games. Very important here because Saleh's job's on the line. Douglas' job could be on the line. Maybe even Hackett's job on the line. He'll probably stay because of Rodgers. but jobs could be on the line here. So it's going to be an interesting final 6 games. For Brian Costello, I'm Jake Brown. Thanks for listening to Gangs All Here. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll talk to you next Thursday to preview Jets Falcons. Thanks for listening, everyone, and happy holidays.